Hey guys, so a couple of you had requested to see a demonstration on how I apply my Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation. So I thought I'd do one for you. So as you can see, I've got nothing on my face foundation wise. I do have my eyebrows and a bit of eye makeup on. You can see my face is far from flawless. You've got at the moment hyperpigmentation, an active pimple here, there, that time of the month. I don't know if you can see it here, a slight different colour. It's a birthmark, dark circle, so there's a bit to cover. So what I look for in a foundation is a full coverage one. So on days where I'm a bit more happier, more confident with my skin, you can always sheer it out, put a drop of your normal moisturiser in it and then mix it with your foundation. But the times where I do want that coverage, I've got that option to do so. So at the moment I'm in the Shell Beige, and so I grab the demo bottles. It works out cheaper in the long run. So all I do is put it on a disc like that, and then I use the Real Techniques buffing brush. And so you just want to get a little bit on the brush, and you just want to start off, well, this is how I do it. I just start off slow. So you just slightly dot it. Now I usually start with my lower face first, because that's where I want most my coverage. So, and you can see my face is a lot paler than my body. So obviously when I put the foundation on, it's going to look a little bit darker. But when you're looking for a colour match with the foundation, you need to match your chest, not your face, because if you do wear makeup, odds are your face is going to be a lot paler. So if you were to match your foundation to your face, then you're going to have this head and a body. So you want it to be all one colour as close as you can. And so I just stipple it on. I prefer stippling it on rather than buffing it on, because stippling for me just gives me that little bit extra coverage. So as you can see with that, that's already evened out most of that hyperpigmentation. And then I just go up here. And a little bit of this goes a long way. And as I said, you can always go in after, all through my hair. You can always go in after if you feel you want more coverage on an area. But with this foundation, make sure that it is blended in. And I just keep almost like a bouncing motion, as if you would if you had a beauty blender. And I basically just do the same with the brush. I find that works better for me. I've tried buffing it in with this foundation. I just find it's hard because it's a matte foundation and it dries at a reasonable pace. I just find that the bouncing motion just gives that more even sort of coverage, where you don't have any streaks and you don't have anything like that. So for me, I'm quite happy with that for the coverage. So then the next thing, this foundation drives me nuts in the hair. The next thing I'll do is I'll conceal underneath my eyes. I find I don't go in on my face because the foundation does enough for me. So I use then the Estee Lauder Maximum Coverage, which is a foundation, but it's very pigmented. So I use it underneath my eyes. I love it. I find it's probably one of the only concealers I've used that doesn't settle in any fine lines. So I really appreciate that when looking for a concealer. I use the same brush I did to apply my foundation, and the same motion. So I'm just bouncing that in and making sure it's all blended. Very tired mummy eyes. So that's the concealer done. So at the moment I'm looking quite pale, so I'll go in then and contour and do the blush. So what I'll do, most times I will do my base first, then I'll do my eyebrows and eye makeup and whatnot. So because I've done it the other way around, just trying to find my brush, I'll just go in over anywhere where the foundation went on. So to do my eyebrows, I use the MAC Dipdown, and I'll just go over it slightly. I just use an angled brush. And I find the gel for me works a lot more effectively opposed to if I was to use a shadow. Naturally, I've got this shape with my eyebrows, but they are very sparse. So a powder does give a very natural finish. However, if you're drawing in a lot to make it look like you've got a decent amount of hairs there, for me, a powder ends up looking more unnatural. Another reason why I like choosing to use a gel is it's virtually waterproof. So especially on hot summer days and you're sweating, with powders, I found in the past, if I go like this, you've got half your eyebrow on the back of your hand. So that's why I choose the gel. Then for my eyes, usually I keep it pretty basic. I'll just go in with like a beige nude color, and then just put a darker color in the crease. So for eyeliner, I use the Revlon Colorstay. I love it. You put it on and it does not budge until you take it off later on that night. So I really recommend that. Mascara, I've been using Covergirl Lashblast for, I think, since it's come out. So I'm just going over that where any foundation's probably gone on. And this is pretty much my routine every day. So by the time I've done my eye makeup and eyebrows, the Estee Lauder is pretty much set. It's slightly tacky, but not too bad. So then I will go in with my contour, which, if I find the brush, is I usually use MAC Blunt in Blunt. And to apply that, I use the Real Techniques contour brush. So I don't use too much. I don't go overboard contouring. I just do it quite lightly. And just a little bit up on the sides. Just to bring some colour back. Especially with the Estee Lauder, it can, being a matte full coverage foundation, it can leave you looking a little bit flat. So you do need to bring some colour and depth back into your face. Then, depending on the day where I'm going, I'll apply blush. So I'm using MAC Dollymix. and I'm applying that with Real Techniques Multitask Brush. So, and just put that on the apples of my cheeks. My hair flying left, right and center. And I'm a bit of a blush fan. I don't go too much with the contouring or even the bronzers, but I like the blush. Then I set it. So I set at the end. The reason for that, I just feel it seems to blend any contouring or blush, just seems to blend it all together. So I find that works best for me. I'll either set between, I use, two powders to set. So I'll either use MAC Blot powder or MAC Prep and Prime, or both. So if I use both, I usually use the Prep and Prime in the T section, because I find that the Prep and Prime, it controls oil quite well, but it fills up any lines. So for me, I've got like slight forehead lines, you know, your laugh lines. I set my under eye with it, so nothing settles, and then that on my cheek. So today I'm just gonna set it with the Blot powder, but they're the two powders that I do recommend. And then for under my eyes, I usually use the Real Techniques, again, the Expert Face Brush, and I just pat whatever powder I'm using to set under the eye. Okay, to finish that off, lately I've been really enjoying the Real Bright Lips. So I'm using MAC Girl About Town. And that's about it. So as you can see, it's covered. You can't really see the birthmark, any hyperpigmentation or scars. That's all covered. I'm happy enough with the coverage that it gives me. So would I recommend the Estee Lauder to someone? In a heartbeat. As I said, you can shear it down if it's too heavy, and say days where your skin is looking quite clear, you add some moisturizer in it and it becomes almost, you know, you can make it to a tinted moisturizer. So I think it is a very versatile foundation. You can build it up for full coverage if you're going out, or for days that you just need that little bit extra. Lasts forever. It doesn't separate for me, even in the hot weather we've been having. I've been sweating and it's still together. I might have to powder once or twice during the day. That's only because I like a really, really matte appearance. So for most people, I know plenty of my friends that wear it and they don't touch it. It's just lasts all day. The color selection is good. They've recently brought out more yellow undertone shades. I think the finish is nice. It smooths things over. So anyway, for those that asked to see the foundation application with Estee Lauder, I hope this has helped. If you've got any other questions, just write them down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.